The crunch of boots on brittle hay didn't jolt me awake that morning. No, it was the sharp click of a padlock and old man Jasper's gravelly voice floating through my cracked window, calm as a summer breeze. If they want to poke around, let him. Just not in the free world for a bit. I bolted upright, rubbing sleep from my eyes, just in time to catch him slinging a rusty chain over his shoulder, whistling a tune, and strolling off with a fishing pole like he hadn't just locked two strangers in our barn. An hour earlier, I'd been lacing on my boots on the porch when a white SUV, HOA patrol slapped on its side, crept down our gravel drive like it was tiptoeing through a graveyard. It parked by the barn without so much as a nod my way. Two guys climbed out matching polos, clipboards, and smirks so smug you'd think they'd patented it. One had a radio clipped to his shoulder. The other sported a VY8ers like he was auditioning for a cop show. They didn't knock, didn't wave, just shoved the barn doors open like they owned the place. Jasper, leaning against the porch rail, watched them with the patience of a man eyeing a fox in a henhouse. "New blood?" I asked. He gave a slow nod. "Same nonsense, fresher shirts." Here's the kicker. Our farm wasn't even under their precious HOA. It had been exempt since before those McMansions sprouted across the road. But ever since a new HOA board rolled in, they'd been itching to stretch their enforcement zone. They'd swung by before first with flyers, then veiled threats, and lately with notices printed so fine you'd need a jeweler's loupe to read them. That morning, though, they weren't here to chat. They were here to snoop. I stepped off the porch just as one snapped photos inside the barn, the other scribbling notes probably about the hay bales, feed sacks, or the tractor we hadn't waxed in a decade. Jasper didn't raise his voice, didn't charge. He just ambled to the shed, pulled out a chain thick enough to anchor a tanker, and, cool as you please, looped it through the barn's door handles. Snap went the padlock. The radio guy came barreling to the doors, pounding like a toddler locked in a timeout. "You can't trap us in here," he bellowed, voice muffled by oak and bruised pride. Jasper tipped his straw hat, a grin tugging at his lips. "Ain't trapping nobody. Just securing my barn." He tossed me the spare key, said, "If the sheriff calls, I'm at the lake," and sauntered to his truck, fishing rod in one hand, cooler in the other. I froze. So did the third HOA guy, still in the SUV, blinking like he'd just seen his buddies vanish into a horror flick. I plopped onto the porch, sipping from Jasper's mud, the one that read, "I'd agree with you, but then we'd both be wrong." Muffled shouts rose from the barn. "This is a crime," one hollered. "You broke into my barn," I muttered, taking another sip. 10 minutes later, my phone buzzed. "Sheriff Brody." "Why some guy claiming he's a hostage in your barn?" he asked, half chuckling, half munching something. "'Cause he is," I said. "Got a warrant? Permission?" "Nope." "Filming my stuff?" "Yep." A pause. "Let him stew," Brody said. "I'll swing by if I'm feeling kind." "Jasper fishing?" "Yup." He laughed. "Figures." The third guy finally climbed out, pacing by the barn like he was mentally drafting his resignation. He dialed someone, probably his boss, maybe a lawyer, maybe his mom. Then the shouts inside turned frantic. See, Jasper had taken up beekeeping again. Nothing big, just a couple hives tucked in the barn's back corner, sealed tight. But those bees? They didn't take kindly to strangers stomping around, while VYing clipboards like they were swatting flies. "You've got insects in here," one guy screeched, voice cracking through the walls. "Health code, violation." "You trespassed in a livestock barn," I muttered. "This ain't Whole Foods." The third guy backed off, sensing this was spiraling from HOA squabble to front-page fiasco. I sat there, oddly at peace, not from spite, but from watching fools snare themselves in their own arrogance. Jasper hadn't fought. He just let the barn and the bees do the talking. Then a second SUV roared up, shinier, with HOA enforcement director plastered on a magnetic decal like a dollar store badge. Out stepped Ms. Larson, power suit crisp, clipboard ready, striding like she'd never heard the word no. She didn't glance at the barn, still rattling with muffled panic, just marched to the porch. "I'm Director Larson," she snapped, voice sharp as a paper cut. "We've got reports of our officers being unlawfully detained." I leaned back, mug in hand. "They mentioned they trespassed first." Her eyes narrowed. "Irrelevant. This lands under our new HOA boundaries, effective last quarter. Your barn, livestock, everything subject to inspection. She thrust a laminated sheet at me, all blurry lines and fake watermarks. I skimmed it. This doesn't match the county plat. Our land's exempt deed. Court ruling from '98. Zoning board sign-off. She bristled. We're enforcing under emergency clauses. No vote needed. I nodded at the barn, where one guy was now shrieking about bees again. Might want to brace for your own emergency. She spun just as the radio guy's voice crackled through. This is harassment. We're trapped in a barn with illicit livestock practices. I snorted. Illicit livestock? What a cow cartel. Larson didn't laugh. She yanked out her phone, pacing and barking about VYRAL potential and CIVYL suits. Then it got worse. The guy inside flipped on a live stream, ranting to the internet. These rural thugs locked us in this death trap. Bees. We're being stung. He panned his camera, filming himself rifling through a locked cabinet, tapping jars of raw honey, muttering about unlicensed hoarding. The comments exploded, thousands piling in, some cackling, others tagging news outlets. Then someone spotted the logo on a jar. Those weren't just Jasper's bees. They were part of a state-protected pollinator program. Messing with them on private land? Fines, penalties, maybe jail. Larson's phone lit up with notifications. Her face froze, jaw slack, hand hovering by her earpiece as she scrolled the footage now, trending as the barn bust. The real cavalry rolled in. County Officer Reyes, hauling a manila folder like it personally offended him. Saw the stream. He grunted, taking our deed. He flipped the page, then turned to Larson. This land ain't yours. Not even close to your annex. Your folks are way out of line. She sputtered. They refused inspection. They don't have to comply. Reyes shot back. Your guys trespassed. Tell me why I shouldn't cite you for illegal enforcement, trespass, and messing with protected bees. She clammed up as a fresh yelp echoed from the barn, another hive disturbed. Sheriff Brody finally pulled up, sipping from a thermos, sunglasses on, whistling at the chaos. Larson fuming, Reyes scribbling, bees buzzing, and news vans circling like vultures. You raising livestock or headlines? He asked me. I dangled the key. Let him out. He grinned. Go for it. Stay clear, though. I ain't got waivers. I unlocked the doors, stepping back as two sweaty, puffy-faced HOA guys stumbled out, hay on their shirts, pride in tatters. Brody sauntered over. Know where you are? They started to speak, then stopped. Thought not, he said. Let's take statements before your TikTok fame tanks you. The sun climbed high, scorching egos and all, with no sign of Jasper. I pictured him on the lake, reeling in trout, sandwich half-eaten. He'd sparked an HOA meltdown and hadn't missed a bite. He didn't roll back until dusk, truck rattling, fishing rods propped up, a stringer of fish glinting in the bed. He stepped out, hat cocked, sweet tea in hand, like he'd just napped through a tornado. The yard was a circus. Larson's SUV still parked crooked, the patrol guys nursing stings on hay bales, Brody flipping through reports, Reyes issuing citations. A news crew filmed by the barn, a drone humming overhead. Jasper glanced around. Miss a festival? I nodded at the patrol guys. They're on parole. Might be allergic too. He sniffed, sipped his tea, and muttered, hope they found what they came for. They found bees, lawsuits, and 70,000 livestream VYUs, I said. They're calling it barn bust. He chuckled and wandered to Brody, handing over a fish. Caught it with that lure you swore was junk. Brody slapped his back. Ain't the lure. It's the fisherman. Larson, pale and pacing, was on her phone, grasping at straws as Reyes handed her citations. Unauthorized inspection, trespass, habitat disruption. He warned that another stunt like this meant court orders. She tried to argue while VYing her phone, but Reyes pointed at the patrol guys, now looking like they'd lost a bar fight. Your folks crossed the line, and they filmed it. Lucky those bees aren't federal, or we'd be talking felonies. A reporter shoved a mic at Jasper. Comment on today's chaos. He wiped his hands, leaned in. Don't traipse where you ain't welcome, especially in boots that drag like. That night, stars winking, we grilled trout and watched the live stream replay on Jasper's creaky tablet. He nodded at each blunder like it was scripture he'd predicted. Did you know it'd blow up like that? I asked. He chewed, swallowed. Didn't know, didn't care. They didn't belong. Sometimes you just trust the fence. We laughed as the patrol guy wailed about bees again. City folks, Jasper said, think nature's a prop. By morning, a sign stood by the barn. This land don't take to trespassers. Fools, step lively bees don't negotiate. No HOA rig ever darkened our drive again. What do you think, did Jasper go too far locking those guys in? Or was he just guarding his own? Should the HOA face harsher penalties for overstepping? Or did they get humbled enough? And what about that live-stream dum-dum move or the nail in their coffin? Drop your take below, hit that like button, and subscribe for more stories where the underdog bites back.